Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Tori. We are back with another just straight yapping, talking. Literally, this is where I just talk about whatever. I am not as tired as I was last week because last time I was really struggling. I took a melatonin before I talked and felt like I just didn't know what I was talking about, but I feel a lot better today. For the first couple minutes of these episodes, I just like to sit down and talk about what's happened in the past week. So this past weekend was very special. It was Super Bowl, I think 60. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was actually really boring. Me and my boyfriend were watching the game. I just kept looking up and I was like, what? There's nothing that's going on. Nothing has happened. So it was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I genuinely feel like that halftime show was maybe one of my favorites. I don't know what it was. The production was so good. The color grading of the actual just visuals was so good. The amount of effort that was put into it. And literally when all the flags started coming out, I almost started crying. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, I didn't understand a dang word of it, but I was like, oh my God, this is I just felt so good. Which kind of brings me into the topic. I mean, I don't want to be talking about these. I mean, I do, but then I don't at the same time. It's so hard because it's our literal everyday, but I'll be honest, if you supported the other halftime show, you're just actively okay with segregation. That is crazy. I don't know. That is genuinely insane. The fact that you would need a separate show. This one is for this certain people. This is for the real Americans. I'm just saying that is just insane. And if you are someone that was okay with it and actually wanted to watch it, I just gotta watch myself around you. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, what else happened this past week? Oh my gosh. So I went and played basketball with my boyfriend for the first time in literally years. My body has not moved like that in so long. I was winded. It wasn't even too much cardio. We barely even played one-on-one. We were just shooting around, but I was genuinely winded after. And I woke up the next morning and my body was aching. My body hurt so bad. I was like, what the heck? I was like, am I really this old that when I go back into just shooting around that my body just can't handle it anymore? Whatever. Oh, also, I just wanted to update on my gym journey. I have been active, I think, for 3 weeks now. Will said he noticed a difference. I think I've noticed a difference in just looking at pictures. I think it's a little bit easier to bounce back in the gym when your body's previously used to that. But I was just had a really long break that I just regressed. But I feel like I've gotten back to my usual strength. I'm noticing some of the fat starting to shred off, which I'm excited to see where I'm at. I think mid-May is going to be my halfway point. So I'm just hoping that my apartment in Chicago has a gym. It said that it does. I just hope that it's good. Also, if you guys don't know, I am going to Chicago for the whole month of March. Well, for 5 weeks. Month of March and then the first week of April, I will be there and I will be in an Airbnb. And it's really just because I wanted to pretend that I'm living somewhere in the city, living by myself, because I currently live in my parents' basement, if you guys couldn't tell. Which at first, when I had just graduated college, I wanted to move out so badly. But I think now I've kind of really found the beauty in it. I'm scared to leave now at this point. I think I wanted to leave my parents because I was just so used to being by myself and needed that space. And I was like, I'm ready to be an adult. I'm ready to do this, that I really wanted to just leave. But now that I'm 2 years in, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to just talk about living at your parents or living at home post grad, because it's way more normalized, especially that everything is just so incredibly expensive. I don't have rent money to move somewhere in the city by myself for a year, but I have it for a month. And I'm telling you guys right now, it did drain my savings. But I did feel like I needed that experience in my life. So I was kind of okay with paying for it, which I'm really trying to be better about my finances. But this is something that has really been calling my name. I don't know if you guys know, but I went to Canada. I went to Toronto in September for a weekend, just solo trip. It was honestly so much fun. I learned so much just about myself. I felt like I was way more social when I was by myself. I feel like when I'm traveling with friends or group vacations, I don't really want to do much because I never have that alone time to myself. And even just go out and be social. I feel like when I went to Toronto, I was talking to people more. I made a lot more friends. I remember I was just talking with these group of like dads while I was at the Blue Jays game. I met them and I was talking to them the whole time. It was so weird because I knew that I was meant to be there because every single interaction I had with a person had something to do with where I'm actually from. So a bunch of people were saying they were from DC or they had worked in Maryland or they were from somewhere in Virginia. And I was like, what are the odds that multiple people that I've talked to in Toronto have been to where I'm from or have some sort of tie with like where I'm from? I'm kind of wondering if that's what's going to happen with Chicago because I just feel like I was just so drawn to Chicago this whole time. But the only thing I'm scared of is like, that's why I'm like, do I even want to be talking that I'm going to be alone, living alone? Well, my friend Daniel is going to be coming with me for the first week. So they know that like I have a guy with me because I don't know. That's my biggest thing is I'm just scared of like, I feel like that's why I'm scared to be living alone. If I were to live alone right away like I did when I first graduated college, I wouldn't have had that ability to adapt to living alone if I didn't have what I'm about to do right now. Does that make sense? My biggest fear right now with Chicago isn't even the like being alone part, going out making friends, like doing things by myself. It's literally just the living alone part as in safety. Being a girl nowadays is so difficult. You have to worry about people like hiding around the corners, you know, following you around, like stalking you. Like, I know that's for everyone. I feel like it's a little difficult for women. So I don't want to put that juju out there. That's just something that I know that I will be weary of. Not weary. What is the word? Like, I will just be looking out for that more, which is good. I feel like a certain amount of, not anxiety, but just like awareness is good, but I don't want it to get bad to the point that it's giving me anxiety. Also, I need to learn how to speak for myself, defend myself. I will be alone, so like I need to learn that. And I feel like that's what I needed to have. Like I said before, that's what I would need to have if I wanted to live by myself. Post-grad, like immediate post-grad, 2024, I just don't think I would have been able to do it. So that's why I feel like right now living with my parents is a blessing, besides also just like saving money, which is kind of hard because I'm really not saving money. I've been spending a crap ton, which I need to stop. I need to stop like having that energy of money because money comes and goes. It's literally just another form of energy that I need to be like, I just need to be more cautious. No, I need to be more, what is that word where you're trying to like keep it? I just have to be mindful of where I put that energy, like where I spend my money on. Because like recently all I've been buying is just groceries and clean foods, which America, of course, makes clean food and eating clean so much more expensive than fast food, than things that are easy because, you know, America's a corporation. You didn't hear that from me. That's where I've been spending a lot of my money on, which I feel like would stress me out, but I know that it's going to good causes, you know? And it's not me being like reckless. But anyways, also just my parents are a little older. My mom had me when she was 41. My parents are about 65. It's gonna be my dad's 67th birthday next Monday. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We're being vulnerable here. Me and my dad have that typical Asian father-daughter relationship where you don't really like show emotion. Like your way of love is shown it's just shown differently. But I really want to throw him like a 67th birthday. Honestly, not even just throw him a birthday, but just get him like the balloons that say 6-7 just because I thought it would be funny. Back on track. They are a little bit older, and I feel like when I first graduated, moved back home, I was in such a rut of wanting to be by myself, wanting to be alone, wanting to spend time with them because they're a little bit older. And I don't know why I have this like anxiety of them aging. I also wonder if it's just because I'm the youngest that I'm like, I feel like it's my obligation to be taking care of them because I know that emotionally they won't have anyone else besides each other. I would always go on walks with my mom when it was like warm. Right now we haven't been walking because it's cold, but I'll go on walks with my mom every night. And like I genuinely feel guilty when I miss our walks. And it's really because they're just like empty nesters. Like if once I leave the house, they are going to be by themselves. They don't have a problem with me staying here. They honestly want me to stay here. They want me to get a better job and like make more money, but they want me to stay here because I feel like they know that they'll be alone without me. Ever since then, I was conflicted of living with them. That was when I also was still living upstairs. I was still living on the same floor as them. I didn't have my own like third space. If any of you guys know what a third space is, let me actually Google it and explain it because I had a whole thesis thing about this. Third place. A third place is a social environment separate from the two primary or first and second places of home and work/school. These settings, such as coffee shops, gyms, parks, or libraries, are crucial for community building, fostering relaxation, and supporting informal, voluntary, and routine social reaction. When I was living still upstairs in my bedroom, like childhood bedroom, and my parents were still up there too, we only had the upstairs floor and the middle floor because if any of you guys followed my basement transformation video, this basement was just like not really inhabitable. Like we didn't really go down here all the time. But now I live here. I changed it into basically my own apartment and I've honestly loved it down here. I feel like now it's my own primary space. It's my own room and a place where I do work. But it feels different because I am separate from my parents, but I feel like built that space that I needed from them to appreciate hanging out with them more. So now I'll go upstairs, I'll make my breakfast, especially now that my mom's retired. When it was just me and my dad up there, I was just like, oh, I kind of want to just be by myself. When my mom retired, I was able to kind of just like feel better about being around all of like them together. Getting real vulnerable with you guys. It really created that healthy boundary between us because even though I had my own room upstairs, I didn't really like going downstairs because I feel like I didn't have that space to myself, but my room was so small, or just like one thing that I didn't feel like I could move around. Because when I'm down here, I have my room, I have like my little desk area where I'll do like work, and then I have here the couch where I'll like watch TV, I'll eat my breakfast sometimes. It really feels like I'm in my own apartment, which is why like I honestly won't mind just being here at my parents' house and then hopping from Airbnb to Airbnb like from month to month. I'm so grateful that I'm actually able to have this option because some people's parents don't want them to be in the house like after a certain age or don't have the money to go to the different places that you want to. So I'm genuinely so grateful for where I'm at right now. I've been saying this in like my past videos, but what I've been trying to do is be more grateful for where I'm at right now. I like fully cherish everything of what's happening right now because I feel like in the future I'll be like, oh man, I'm gonna miss that time where I like lived at my parents' house, because I always hear those stories that my parents say, or I'll hear other people say when they're like, oh, my first apartment, oh this, and I'm like, when I look back on it and I see these things, I'm like, I'm literally making those memories that I feel like people have been telling me about their whole lives. Like college, I remember when people would be like, oh, my roommate in college, my blah 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 in college, I did this in college. I'm recreating those sentences now. I never thought the day would come where I'd be like, yeah, like I'm hanging out with my college roommates or going to get lunch, and I'm like, oh my god. Besides the point, like I said, I've just been trying to find the beauty in what I have right now, and I feel like when I started to do that, the more I kind of really appreciated living here. And I know just the time that I'm gonna move out is the time that I need to move out. I realize now that the time post-grad, just trying to figure out my relationship, and I feel like that's what also I needed to before moving out, is I needed to establish like a good relationship with my parents, because I feel like the reason why I wanted to leave before was because I just was like, I just need to get away from my parents. I need to be by myself. I can't do this. They're too much, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I'll have those moments sometimes, but I needed that time of figuring out, whoa, I'm like realizing this right now. I needed that time to figure out where I stand with them. Not even like in a bad way. That I feel like that sounds kind of crazy, but at least where I don't know how to explain it, but like, I guess draw boundaries, which I feel like I don't really have boundaries. Before, I would be really guilty when I would say that I couldn't do this one thing with my mom or like do this with my parents. Now I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm an adult now, like I can do my own things too and not have to feel guilty about it. I don't want that to sound bad. I will always care about my parents' emotions, how they feel, how I'm treating them. But I feel like I let that overtake my own need of stuff. I would feel guilty if I would do this one thing. Also, the one thing that I was thinking that once I moved out, it would not bother me that much was my parents like saying stuff when I do things. So like my parents were strict. My parents are typical Filipino parents where I wasn't allowed to sleep over anywhere. I wasn't allowed to hang out with people on the weekends except like once a month. So I had to sneak out everywhere to be able to see my friends and be a normal American teenager. But obviously they grew up in the Philippines. That's just not how it worked. I realized that when I got older. My parents now, they always have something to say say about what I'm doing, and I thought that if I left, then they couldn't say anything and it wouldn't bother me. But I feel like if I were to leave and like do all these things and they would still say things, I would still care. But now I'm starting to just accept them just like saying stuff. Obviously, if it's like constructive and I know that it's from a place of they're looking out for me. But some of the things now is it's like my dad says, why do you have to go to the gym every day? Like, why do you always have to leave? Blah, blah, blah. Before, that would have made me feel guilty for leaving because it's just such a big amount of energy that their opinion really matters and would like get in my head a little bit. But now I'm like, oh, dad is just like being dad. He just needs to say something. I feel like also because they're retired, they're a little older, and I'm not bashing on them because I feel like it's kind of funny that sometimes they just say things to say things because I feel like they just don't really have any other outlet, which is also one thing that I'm like conflicted about leaving. Well, obviously I will, but I don't know when, is that they don't have many outlets to release to besides each other. I know that's not on me to force them to do. My mom wants to do a bunch of things. That's why like I want to, if I live here, I want to be at least a little close to them because I want to be able to take like classes with my mom, work out with her, just keep them moving because we've been trying to get my dad to walk, but he's just like, I'm old, I'm retired, like I just don't want to do anything. That like I want them to have at least some third outlet or third way of talking, which I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, not my responsibility. Obviously, I want to help them, but you can't help people that don't want to be helped. Does that sound bad? I'm really not trying to sound bad. But that was also just something that I feel like I need to establish at this point right now before I leave. I feel like so many of these things that I had issues with when I first got back home was all the things that I needed to figure out before I'm like mentally ready to leave. It's so funny because now I'm like, I really don't know if I am. I love honestly being home. The fact that I have this basement genuinely helps, and also the idea of just being somewhere for months at a time. I feel like that's just so fun. But then also I have just like meals cooked for me. Sometimes my mom will go grocery shopping. My mom does my laundry sometimes. Like it's literally the best. It'll be so funny because my mom will be like, I did your laundry, I did this, which I don't ask her to do. I do it, but then when she sees that I have clothes or something down here, because my literal laundry basket is in the basement where the laundry room is, where my mom will see it. Whenever she does her laundry, she does mine with hers. And then she like cooks for me and sometimes get groceries. She'll joke about like buying groceries or whatever. She makes it seem like she's like, oh, you need to do this, which I know. I did it all of college. I do it now. But I think the thing is, she kind of secretly likes doing it because she knows that she's not going to have to be taking care of someone anymore besides my dad. She doesn't have to be taking care of someone anymore once I'm gone. I've just been trying to really take that in because I'm the type of, oh my God, I feel like I talked about this in one video before, like when I moved out from the basement, and I just get emotional just thinking about it. Some of these things are sometimes the moments that you never know is the last time. Oh, that sounds so morbid, but you'll never know the last time like your mom does your laundry for you because you lived at home or bought you groceries, which obviously that's going to happen. That could happen later on in the future. Like sometimes my mom will do my brother's laundry when they come visit here. But like the concept of your mom just oh my God. The concept of your parents just doing things for you because they're your parents and you live under the same roof as them. Oh my God, am I like getting emotional right now? What? I feel like I sound so spoiled. These are all things I know I can do, but my parents do it before I'm able to do it or have a say that I'm going to do it. But my parents are I got so lucky. My parents are literally amazing. They're just so like giving, even though they are not emotionally, they don't say it verbally or show it emotionally. They'll show it in like acts and just certain ways. Oh my God. I feel like I low-key needed this little therapy session, little chit chat to talk about because I genuinely didn't realize how far I came with understanding my parents me and my parents' relationship, especially from how it was in high school. Oh my God. Am I in therapy right now? Because I'm unpacking a lot right now. In high school, I just did not have a good relationship with my parents. It's the typical, I feel like a lot of Filipinos have that crazy blowout, especially Filipino girls. I don't know if this happens with the guys, but you have this crazy blow up with your parents and then everything basically changes after that, or your parents maybe start to take you seriously, or just stuff like changes. I feel like maybe they just need that certain emotional trigger because they can't trigger it themselves. Maybe that's a thing. Oh my God. Like, am I getting like deep with you guys? With a lot of Asian Filipino parents, you have a crazy fight and you'll just like never talk about it again. Like, it'll never get brought up. I remember basically I ran away from home because of my SAT score. And before y'all like, no, that actually sounds crazy. I took the SAT, I think, once or twice. My parents didn't like the score. I think I got like a 10 something and then a 10 something again, I think, out of 1,600. My parents were like, you need to do better so you can have good college applications or whatever. I knew, I was like, for some reason, I feel like there's something wrong with me. I feel like I'm not good at this type of testing. You put me in any other thing, I'm acing it. I'm able to lock in on it. I was always so good at projects. I was in, not to toot my own horn, but in elementary school and middle school, I was in that like gifted program. What is that gifted program? Because I need to... Okay, so for students with advanced intellectual, academic, or creative abilities, featuring faster pacing and in-depth exploration, programs often include pull-out services, cluster grouping, or specialized schools to address unique academic, social, and emotional needs. So I don't know if that's just like because I had ADHD that it was like a majority ADHD. Let me actually look that up right now. Program and kids with ADHD. Gifted children with ADHD, often called twice exceptional or 2E kids, require specialized strengths-based approaches that nurture high intellect while scaffolding executive function weaknesses. They need both challenging, accelerated, and engaging for giftedness alongside supports like organization, routine, and flexibility. So there are some articles on here that are saying gifted ADHD or both. Regardless, whatever. A lot of those things were on projects based on creativity. I remember we had this one project where we had to discuss groups of the body or something. I feel like each group had, what is that called? Like an organ or a system, like nervous system, like your skin and stuff like that. And I remember we had to like make a body chart or whatever. I had the idea of like having it open up so like it looks like a normal person, and then you open it up and it's like whatever. Anyways, I just remember it was a project and I just loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I had never had that much fun in creating something for school, and I realized I liked like creative things, project-based stuff, and that's just how my brain worked, and that's how I function. Like, that's how I am, which is crazy because that's exactly what I do for like a living right now. I'm manifesting that I'm doing that for a living. Doing things based off of timelines and projects and not things based on like exams, quizzes. Like, I was never a good test taker unless I like studied the study guide and just genuinely like memorized it to pass a test, not to like ingest it. Where was I going with that? But yeah, back to the story. I knew that there was just something wrong with me for like taking exams. Like, I was like, I'm not good at taking exams. I don't know why. So my parents got me a tutor. I remember I was with them for like a couple weeks. And my thing is, it's so bad that people will literally talk to me. It'll go in one ear out the other because I'm like thinking of something else. Then I'll be like, oh, you gotta lock back in again, lock back in. They're saying something. Remember what they're saying. I was just focusing on me not listening to them, that I wasn't listening to them again. I was just so focused on me telling myself to listen to them that I wasn't actually listening to them after I had just told myself you need to listen to them because you haven't been listening. Like, my brain was just like not quiet. If I had a subject in my brain that I was thinking about, that was all what I was going to be thinking about no matter what I was having for the next like couple minutes. I had to go in depth on that. Sorry, guys. I think I had a tutor for at least maybe a month. I think it had to have been a month. Oh, okay, guys. I also took an Adderall. I wasn't prescribed it, but my friend had it. So I was like, okay, like, let's see if this works. And I remember feeling better. I feel like it wasn't crazy, but I definitely felt better than I did when I originally just like took the exam, like raw dogged it. I got my test results back and it was just not to my parents' liking. They just did not like it. And we got into a huge fight because I literally was like, I think I have a problem. I literally can't take the exam. I studied, I had a tutor, like I had everything, which granted, I feel like I didn't try my hardest, but it was because it was something I didn't care about. If I don't care about something, my brain just does not care. Like, I don't find any interest in it, which is why, like, when it was project stuff, I feel like I felt a lot better because I love the creative aspect of it, and that's where I tried my best. But anyways, regardless. So then we got into this huge fight. I ended up leaving my parents' house, and I asked my friend to pick me up, and it was so funny because my mom, I'm pretty sure, called my brother and was like, tell Tori to come stay at your house. Like, we just got into a fight. Like, just stay with her. Me listening to my parents after I just got into a huge fight and like ran away from home. Afterwards, context, this is when I had just broken up with my first boyfriend, my first ever like relationship. It felt like that, you know, puppy love. And everyone knows that the first heartbreak is literally the worst. So I had broken up with him maybe like a year before. It's so funny because I dated him for like I said, guys, we're being vulnerable. I dated him for like 2 months and I literally could not get over him for like a year. I think that was also because I was so hyperfixated because I didn't realize I had an issue. Wait, okay, anyways. I told my mom that I had something wrong with me and she finally like listened and was like, okay, we'll just get you tested. Let's see. Because I was like, I need to get tested. I swear I have something. And we went to the doctor. I got tested and I remember on our way to the clinic, because we were there for like 2 or 3 days. I remember on the third day, that's when I got my results back and me and my mom got into this huge argument or something in the car. I was like crying. I was like tearing up. We get to the office, we're talking, and then they read me the results. Oh, also guys, I wanted to tell you, get some of the tests that they had to do. One, they had to do some memory tests or something. They gave you a word problem, but you couldn't write it down, so you had to like recite the word problem to them. I just would get so lost with what they were saying. I genuinely couldn't keep track. Also, one of the things was like you had to click a button or press this button whenever the dot like flashed on the screen. And I remember I was like, oh my god, I'm doing like so good. But I remember I was pressing the button whenever the light would blink and I'd be like, oh my god, I'm doing so good. Like, I haven't missed one. And the whole time I'm like the thought of, oh, I'm doing so good, I haven't missed one, that I'm like, wait, did I just miss that one? And then every time I thought that I missed one and was like worrying that I missed it, I was like, oh my god, did I just miss it again? So I was just like, back to the story. So I'm getting my results read to me and the doctor says, yeah, so you have ADHD. And then on top of that, you have anxiety and depression. And my mom was like, and in my head, the whole time I was just like, I told you I had something. I knew there was something wrong. Granted, at the time I was like, Mom, how could you not like realize? How could you not listen to me or whatever, like understand that this is a thing? The older I got, the more I realized like, oh, mental health and stuff like that isn't a problem. Like, I remember when I told my mom I was just like so sad. I was just depressed. It was on my mind. I literally was at that point where I was trying to open up to her because I didn't know who else to talk to about it. But every single time I said I was like sad, she'd be like, just don't think about it. Just pray. Put your mind on something else. And back then I was like, you're right. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, I need to just like stop thinking about it and I need to do something else. And I look back on it, I'm like, that's not how you deal with that. And that's not how you deal with a breakup. That's not how you deal with problems that are taking over your brain. You have to face those things head on, whether that takes a little bit longer than certain things because certain things weigh more. And the older you get, I feel, or the more experience you have, I wouldn't even say age, but the more experience you have with something, the more you're able to get over things or deal with something more. Because like now when I had like my past breakups after I had my first one, each time got so much easier because I knew how to face it head on. I knew what I needed to do that I didn't know that I needed at the first time. Like, you know, blocking them, not even blocking them, but really having to take them out your life. At least for me, you're going to have to remove them and cut it cold turkey. That's how I got over a lot of my relationships. And I wouldn't even say that I pushed that away. I honestly think that social media has kind of made getting over a relationship a lot harder because back then when you didn't have a phone or you didn't have like the ability to see what they were doing all the time or the ability to contact them, you don't realize how much you're tempted to be thinking about them. It's harder when you do see them all the time. I remember one relationship I was in, I still had to see that person like literally every couple days, that it was very difficult to not like think about it that much. But if you can, just like not having them in your life physically, because like you can't help when someone's like physically near you, didn't like plan on seeing each other, but the choice of seeing them online or the ability to see them online is a lot more difficult. I don't know why, whatever. I remember the doctor was just like reading me symptoms. I have the packet. I need to find it. I remember the doctor was just like reading symptoms of ADHD and just like, or just even the things that I had been feeling for the past year. I remember I didn't realize I had anxiety until the doctor was like, always says like, but I don't know, or something after a question was asked, like a word problem, and I didn't know what it was. I would answer it, but then I would be like, but I don't know if that's right, which is, I didn't realize was anxiety. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, yes. Like, what was I anxious of getting it wrong for? Like, why am I scared that I'm gonna get it wrong? Like, so it opened up a lot of things, and I'm so grateful that my mom actually took me there, because now they understand the concept of ADHD. My mom will even be like, yeah, your dad has ADHD. And I'm like, yeah, it's hereditary. So that's definitely where I got it. And then also just like medicine. My mom's like, have you taken your medicine? Blah, blah, blah. Like she just understands more and has learned, which I'm very, very grateful for, because sometimes it's very difficult for parents to do that, which is why I feel like I genuinely have come full circle in my relationship with my parents. Maybe that's what I needed before, like going to Chicago, before moving out. I don't know. Do any of you guys ever have that feeling, like, because this is like my personal journal. This is me just brain a whole bunch of things. So there are times where I'll be in my journal and I'll be like, wait, this happened because this had to happen, or like this has come so full circle from when this happened that like I've grown so much and I didn't even realize it. And that's like what I'm thinking of right now. And I also wonder if it's because of my frontal lobe is a year away from full development, that a lot of things are starting to make sense. I feel like I'm a lot more emotionally mature, especially with my parents. My parents were the one thing that really, really grinded my gears about things, like my emotions and stuff, that now I feel like I'm actually able to handle it, and I needed to learn how to be able to handle it. But anyways, my camera is about to die. Before my camera goes out, I don't know where all of that went. Living with your parents, don't be embarrassed. Listen to just what all of I said, because my brain is like focused on the fact that my camera's about to die. I love living with my parents. It has definitely taught me a lot about myself and about my relationship with them. Don't try to force it. If like the opportunity presents itself, then it was meant to be. If it's been a little difficult and it's weighing a lot, then just like relax. It'll all work out. And I feel like that's what's happening with me right now. But anyways, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I know this felt like a long episode. I was talking for 50 minutes without any edits, but I had such a good time. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow my Instagram, my TikTok, like and subscribe to this channel. Comment down below what videos you'd like to see next. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!